Alrighty guys, hope you're doing absolutely amazing today. Now in this video today, let's talk about how you can go ahead and produce impactful short form video content for the whole month from just spending 4 to 8 hours of your time for the entire month, even if you are a busy lawyer essentially. Okay, now if you're watching this video, chances are you already understand exactly what are the benefits of producing video content for a law firm, which essentially allows you to nurture your leads, separate yourself from other law firms, and basically become the go-to law firm in your area. So as you can understand that, the question right now is how can you go ahead and actually produce tons of content every single month and be very consistent with it, even if you are extremely busy. And that's exactly what I'm going to walk you through today in this video. But one very important point to keep in mind as well is that it's not just about producing content for the sake of producing content. You need to ensure that the content that you produce is also impactful and it attracts your ideal types of clients. That's one. And second, it helps you pretty much as well acquire customers for your law firm, because if it doesn't yield into customers, then what's the point of even producing content in the first place, right? Well, what I'm going to share with you today, the process that you can pretty much duplicate into your law firm right away. The exact same process has allowed us to produce some very viral pieces of content that attract the right types of leads. And here you can see some of the analytics from some of the pieces of content we have made, specifically distributed on a platform called TikTok. And you can see some of the analytics right here, where this video right here on the left acquired 1.6 million views, the one on the right 4 million, and then several more right here below with 3.2 million and 1.3 million views as well. Okay, so these are just some of the pieces of content we have made for our businesses and also for some of our partners that have worked incredibly well. Okay, now before I walk you through the process that you can go ahead and duplicate, let me first walk you through why you should specifically focus at first on short form content, because the thing is that there's tons of different styles of content out there that you can produce, but short form content, which are essentially short videos such as 30 to 60 seconds long, those are the videos that will help you attract a new audience organically, where they will then be migrated into your ecosystem, where they can then go ahead and consume longer styles of content, for example blog posts, YouTube videos, things like that. Okay, but generally speaking, content is the most efficient way to bridge a gap between a complete stranger who has never heard of you to a fan and a loyal customer, because it's extremely difficult to turn cold leads into high-paying clients for a law firm if the prospects just don't know who you are and they don't essentially trust you, right? And as I mentioned, there is tons of different styles of content that you can actually make, but in our current times, right, people have very low attention span, which is literally just 3 seconds, and that's the only window of opportunity you have to catch them, be that through organic content or be that even through video ads you might be producing. Because if your video ads on social media, for example, right, if they don't have a strong hook in the very beginning, then people are just going to scroll past. Okay, so you need to ensure you have a very strong hook. And short form content really is the content that helps to achieve that, as long as you obviously make sure that you say the right things in the first 3 seconds of the video. But as I mentioned, short form content is between 30 to seconds long, okay? And it enables you to get people into your ecosystem, which builds trust. They start following you, they start consuming your content, and eventually they become a paying customer, okay? And not to even mention the fact that this is the most powerful lever that you can actually pull in order to beat the big law firms in your area who are spending millions of dollars every single month on paid marketing campaigns, right? Because chances are, if you don't have, let's say if you're a PI law firm, right, and if you are doing more vehicle accidents, well, chances are you can't really easily beat Morgan & Morgan unless you've got millions of dollars a month as well that you can invest in paid marketing campaigns, things like that, right? But producing content and building trust with people, right, allows you to become this local go-to law firm in the local geographical area, because people see you as an influencer and they don't even really think about going to Morgan & Morgan or anybody else for that matter, okay? And there is a couple of attorneys out there that have really understood this. For example, Mike Mandel and Hugo Lord. These two attorneys in particular are relatively popular on social media. You have probably even seen some of their content. They have understood this concept so well that now they are basically enjoying the fruits of their labor. I have no doubt that these two guys right here are signing on several hundreds of cases every single month completely for free just from the content that they produce without even necessarily running any ads or doing anything else marketing wise. Okay, now before I walk you through exactly the process you can go ahead and implement, let me just quickly walk you through as well what is the volume that you need to implement in order to actually win with this, right? Because it's not just about like producing barely any content at all, right? You need to ensure you have enough volume being pumped out to actually be successful, okay? And the way how that really kind of like comes down to is that you need to be producing about one piece of short form content per day, between 30 to 60 seconds long, okay? And between 1 to 2 pieces of YouTube videos per week as well, okay, that you distribute. And then lastly, a couple of different image and text related pieces of content as well, such as, you know, graphics, Instagram carousels and things like that. And the reason for this is because if you produce less than that, if you barely produce any content, you produce maybe one video every 2 weeks, then obviously what's going to happen is that you're, you know, deliberately choosing to win slowly, okay? That's why you need to kind of like become a content machine. That is one of the most highest leverage activities you can essentially pull. And maybe you've seen this guy around on social media. His name is Alex Hormozi. You can see his face right here. And if you have seen him, you have probably seen that this guy has grown quite a lot on social media over the last year or two, right? And the reason for this is because he had a call with Grant Cardone. If you know who Grant Cardone is, he's a very popular business influencer out there. He's got a real estate portfolio that's worth multiple billions of dollars, and he's running multiple different businesses, speaking on stages. He's very, very well known across the social media and the business space. But basically, he had a call with, Alex Hormozi had a call with Grant Cardone, and after that call, Hormozi scaled his content production from producing 7 pieces of content per week across all the channels to now producing about 80, and I think right now he's producing even more than that. And then throughout a period of a couple months, he just blew up when it comes down to his reach. And really, like, if you think about that, if you do the exact same thing, it just makes it impossible for you not to become this local influencer within your geographical area when it comes down to whatever area of law you practice, be it family law or PI or criminal law or whatever that might be. Because the word spreads around. If somebody needs an attorney for family law, they go ahead and tell that person that, hey, I've seen, this John Smith right here across social media, like pumping your content, providing tons of value. I think he could possibly help you a lot in your case, and that's essentially who you are in a sense. You know what I mean? So, and not to even mention the fact that any marketing campaigns you might be running right now, you get leads coming in, they go through the exact same funnel, and it massively builds trust as well, which means that you can actually convert way more people into clients than ever before. Okay, so with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about how you can produce tons of content every single month from just 4 to 8 hours of your time. Okay, now I just want to preface this with the fact that it's gonna be impossible for you to produce all this content if you just do everything on your own. Okay, if you are looking to do everything on your own, then obviously this process is not gonna work for you because you need to hire people for this. Okay, that's why below I'm gonna walk you through the multiple step formula you need to implement, okay, and how you can go ahead and hire, like video editors, credit strategists, and things like that can actually go ahead and help you with the production of this process, so that you, as the attorney itself, just spend 4 to 8 hours per the whole month recording just the raw video file, so that everything else is automated. Okay, so the very first step is the content idea research. Okay, finding and coming up with good content ideas is what will separate your content from being average to actually being impactful, that attracts the right types of clients and turns them into customers for your law firm. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to make a list of 30 to 50 competitors, or depending on what area of law you might be doing, depending on how many attorneys are there that essentially produce content on social media, just make a list of a decently sized audience of other attorneys and law firms that are doing this right within your niche. And what you want to do is you want to take a look at their best performing YouTube videos, Instagram posts, TikToks, and any other pieces of content that they might be producing on any other channels. You just want to do this research, okay, so that you can actually have an idea as to what essentially is working, okay? And when we usually work with our partners, what we usually do is we go ahead and analyze upwards of even 70 competitors in some cases to have a really good understanding as to what essentially works within their area. But for most of the clients that we're working with that are, for example, family law and personal injury, for those specific niches, we already know what content works, so we just go ahead and duplicate out for our clients with a tweak of their branding on it and their messaging elements that is unique to their brand. But that really allows them to scale really quickly because we already know what works and what doesn't, right? But the thing is, once you find these viral pieces of content, once you do this research, what you want to do after that is you want to go ahead and make titles for every single piece of content, right? So both for long form content and also for short form content, okay? So make a title as to what exactly is the video going to be about, okay? So for example, if the topic is going to be something in regards to, for example, let's say you do prenups as an example, right? Let's say the idea of the piece of content is how to talk to your spouse, your future, wife or husband, in regards to a prenup, right? That's let's say that is the idea of the piece of content, right? But then you need to go ahead and create a title that's catchy and is a strong hook in a sense, right? So you need to think about like how to make a title, one sentence title for this content topic that's going to be catchy and is going to grab people's attention in a sense, okay? So you want to think through that and then basically write it down, okay? Once you've done that, the next step after that is to create an actual brief, okay? So from the content ideas that you came up with, create a brief for each single one of them so it's nice and easy for you to follow, okay? And the things that you need to include in the brief is basically, first of all, the content idea overview, then second, how long the video should be, and then third, what are the actual most important talking points, okay? So this way you have a document in front of you that pretty much outlines everything you need to know. So now you just simply sit down, click record on the camera, and basically just follow through the brief and fill in the blanks when it comes down to the talking points, okay? So for example, if the idea of the video was, once again, that prenup, right? How to speak to your spouse about a prenup, like top 3 tips on how to speak to your spouse about a prenup as an example, right? That is the content idea overview plus the title. The video should be 30 to 60 seconds long if it's, let's say, short form content, and then talking points is, tip number 1, tip number 2, tip number 3. So tip number 1 could be, I don't know, like make the spouse comfortable or something like that. And then the second one, I don't know, could be anything else, right? You just think it through yourself as the attorney, as the expert, and then just simply go ahead and fill in those blanks and just speak about that topic, okay? Now, if you have delegated the content idea research part, brief creation, and also video editing and distribution, then recording the actual raw video footage is the only thing you should actually focus on, okay? This structure allows you to record raw footage of literally upwards of even 48 to 72 pieces of short form content plus 4 to 8 pieces of long form content per month from just about 4 to 8 hours of your time, because you don't need to do any research. You don't need to do any editing. You don't need to do any distribution. You just simply record the raw video files, okay? Now, with that being said, the third step is to go ahead and do the editing. So now, as you have basically found out the content ideas, right? You have created the briefs and then you recorded the actual raw video files. The next step is to do the editing, okay? So, you go ahead and edit up those pieces of content. Here you can actually see some of the examples of content that we have produced for some of our partners, in a sense, okay? These 3 right here. But then from there on out, the fourth step is to do the content distribution. So as your video editors finish off editing the content, the next step is to distribute it on all platforms that you want to focus on. You can either write out the captions yourself and schedule the content in advance, or you can literally just have a social media manager who actually does this for you, okay? And then the last step is to repurpose the content, okay? Because now, once you have your content made, you should also transcribe it and repurpose it into other types of content. For example, short form and long form content can be repurposed into Instagram carousels, which can actually get less engagement than video content, but this will nurture your followers even more, get them closer to becoming a paying customer for your law firm, okay? And not to even mention that you can take a 5-minute to 10-minute YouTube video and transcribe it and put it into a blog post, in a sense. That's another thing, right? But you wanna transcribe each kind of like piece of content so you can go ahead and distribute it across different mediums and stuff like that, right? So that is a very important point. Now, with that being said, this is how you can actually go about integrating this in your law firm, okay? So you want to go ahead and hire between 1 to 2 editors, okay, depending on obviously the volume of content that you're going to produce, okay? If you're going to produce, let's say, 1 long form piece of content per week, and then let's say like 1 short form piece of content per day, then you can just literally get away with just 1 editor, okay? So go ahead and hire an actual editor. Now, the way we can do that is through going on platforms such as like, you know, Upwork, or you can even go ahead and find them on Facebook groups, okay? From there on out, you also want to go ahead and hire a creative strategist. This is going to be the person who is going to take care of the content strategy, content idea research, brief creation, management of the editors, and also the graphic designers, okay? Now, once again, depending on the volume of content that you're producing, you might actually be able to just have a creative strategist also be the video editor, okay? And possibly even a social media manager, okay? Because besides the creative strategist and the video editors, you also need to have a social media manager who actually goes ahead and writes the captions for content, designs the thumbnails, creates the Instagram carousels, transcribes all the content and puts it into other styles of content as well, and even then goes ahead and does the distribution as well, okay? So if you're producing just, as I said, like 1 piece of, you know, YouTube video per week, and then 1 piece of short form, you know, content per day, then you can realistically just have 1 person who actually goes ahead and does all of this. The hardest parts is really going to be finding somebody who can actually figure out really great content ideas and then also do great editing, right? So if you can find somebody that fits these 2 criteria, then obviously getting them to also post the content is going to be very, very easy. So I would say, like, when you go ahead and hire somebody, the main thing to look out for is make sure that they are really creative, okay? So they fit the criteria of what a great creative strategist would fit, okay? And then at the same time, make sure that they have a background in doing some video editing so they can actually go ahead and edit videos that are relatively eye-catching and things like that, okay? Now, once you have this team in place, of course, then your focus shifts to communicating with the creative strategist and recording the raw video footage, okay? Now, a couple other things to keep in mind, it's that consistency is what's going to separate winners from losers. However, staying consistent with producing content every single day is extremely hard to do, right? That's why the best for you is to just batch create content twice per month, or even, you know, once per month, okay? So allocate between 1 to 2 days on your calendar every month, where you basically call these days as content days, where you spend 4 hours on each day just shooting content from the briefs that have been prepared by your creative strategist, okay? And you should be able to record, as I said, you know, on each of these days, realistically, you should be able to produce between 24 to 36 pieces of short form content, okay? So these 30 to 60 long videos, and then about 2 to 4 pieces of long form content as well during each of these 2 days, okay? So if you're producing, even as I said, like just 1 piece of, you know, long form content per week, which is for a month, and then, you know, 30 pieces of short form content a month, right? Then realistically, you should be able to go ahead and produce all of that even within 1 day as opposed to 2 days, depending on, of course, your schedule and how quick you are at, you know, communicating, and how good you are at camera and things like that, right? But other than that, you should be able to produce that even within a single day, where you spend about like 4 to maybe 5 hours on that day producing this content, okay? So this is how you can go about doing this. Now, if you are in a position where, you know, as I said, like you would go ahead and obviously hire somebody who could pretty much do this for you, then my team pretty much specializes in this as well. So what I've done is, below this video in the description section, I've attached a link that leads you to our website, where you can actually go ahead and book a walkthrough session, either with me myself or somebody on my team, where my team can actually take a look at your practice area of law, whether that's family law, personal injury, criminal, or whatever it might be. And then we can also take a look at your geographical area and a couple other things, such as your goals and what is your current position, and then give you a personalized walkthrough how you can go ahead and pretty much produce extremely impactful content in relates to exactly your area of law and your geographical area, that allows you to pretty much attract inbound organic qualified leads into your law firm that result in high paying clients, and then also how you can most automate this part so that you only focus on the most impactful stuff, which is recording the raw video files. And then on top of that, my team can walk you through everything else that you need to do to actually go ahead and achieve your goal of whatever is your revenue goal or the desired amount of cases or your CPA goal or whatever it might be. So we can walk you through other strategies you can leverage besides just content alone to actually go ahead and hit that goal way quicker and in a way smoother way as well. Okay, so if that's what you're interested in, then as I said, I'll attach a link below this video in the description section. It's going to lead you to our website where you can go ahead and pencil in this walkthrough session. But else than that, guys, I hope that you found this video extremely valuable. Go ahead and implement what I walked you through today. And as I said, as you produce content over time, then eventually you get to a point where you kind of like become this go-to law firm in your area because people see you as an influencer, as a huge authority. You provide tons of value. They have this reciprocity bias that kicks in their mind where they feel the need to pay you back. And so like whenever they need an attorney, they will actually go to you as opposed to anybody else. So you can really beat your competition this way. And not to even mention that you can get clients for free because some of them literally will discover you just from content alone without you having to run ads or things along those lines. So that's pretty much it. Hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you all in the next one.